Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my everyday makeup drawer for December. It has been a little while since I filmed one of these videos because I've just been trying to focus on using up the products from my previous everyday makeup drawer, declutter products in my collection, but I do want to rotate those products finally and see what else I have in my collection, what else excites me in my collection that I haven't used in a long time. I do also want to do some declutters throughout the month of December, so this gives me a little bit of a preview of looking through my collection, see what still interests me and what products I want to give like a second chance before I decide if I do want to do a declutter of those products. So that's going to be the focus of today's video. I'll show you guys what products I have used up or hit pan on recently. We'll go through my collection, pick out some products to try out for December. So you guys want to know what I'm going to be picking out for this month, the last everyday makeup drawer for this year, then just keep on watching. All right, so here is what was in my previous everyday makeup drawer. I believe this was in October when I picked out these products, and yes, it's been a while, but I have actually used some of these like pretty much used up. So this Kevyn Aucoin palette I'll actually be getting rid of after this video. It's obviously very, very used to say the least, to put it nicely. But I used up this whole sculpting powder, which was my goal with this palette. I don't really use a lot of cream products. I don't actually really like the eyeshadows. I love the Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder obviously so much. I do want to get a single of that product for on the go and stuff. But it's just an amazing, amazing sculpting powder. So I'm going to be getting rid of this palette. I was very excited to finally use up like a whole contour product. Something else, these are two highlighters that I am almost done using up. This one is still going to take me quite a bit of time. This one is Jouer Topaz. This is a gorgeous kind of bronzy highlighter, really creamy formula, beautiful, beautiful shade. I've obviously used a ton of this highlighter. And the one that's closer to being fully used up is from Persona Cosmetics. This is the highlighter in the shade Zuma. Sometimes, especially this highlighter, because it's so creamy, it gets really, really messy as I start to use up more and more product because it just starts to crumble apart. But I'm going to try to use as much as I can over the next couple months. And this is something I'll definitely repurchase. This was gifted to me actually, but I'll definitely repurchase this as well. It's gorgeous. I love this shade. It goes with like every eye look, lip color. These are some of my favorite highlighters in my collection. All right, and then next up, this is actually something that I fell in love with over the last couple months, and it's like the most simple eyeshadow palette, but that's why I like it. It's very practical for everyday looks, and I definitely recommend this palette because I've had it for a couple years, and I was still choosing this palette over most new palettes in my collection for the last like 2 months, especially when I wouldn't have a lot of time to do my eyeshadow. This is the palette that I would gravitate towards. Obviously, like this shimmer shade, Sunset, is one of my favorites. I love the mattes in here. Basically, anytime I didn't have a lot of time to do eyeshadow, I just wanted something simple, quick, easy, but still looks really pretty and pigmented. This is the palette that I was reaching for on most days, honestly, or I will use like some of the mattes in here and use it with like another palette or like the Tati palette or something. Really still like this palette a lot. It isn't the most exciting, but it's actually one of my favorite neutral palettes in my collection, so I was glad I got to like rediscover it. The next up, we have this bronzer from Too Faced. This is the chocolate gold bronzer. I am very proud of how much I've hit pan on it in the past 2 months in this bronzer. I believe in my last everyday makeup drawer, maybe I had like a little bit of pan, but this is one I'm going to use up by springtime for sure. I can wear this every day. I honestly have been wearing it pretty much every day for the last couple months. This one still makes me happier than some newer bronzers that have come out. It's just like a very staple product for me because it's shimmery, it looks very natural on your skin, it smells like chocolate, it's creamy, it's pigmented, it doesn't look powdery, it doesn't look like too much. Love, love, love this bronzer. I just love Too Faced bronzers in general. Those are like all the products I've been really focusing on. Oh, also this Stay Naked foundation from Urban Decay. Originally when I got this, I thought it was way too light coverage. I thought it was okay, but I thought the coverage was way too light. But then I started applying it with a brush or a Juno sponge instead of just a beauty blender. And I really actually love the finish of this foundation. It's actually one of my top foundations in my collection. That is a video that's coming up very, very soon as well. But it made me really fall in love with this foundation, just giving it more time. Honestly, some of these other foundations I use just because I'm trying to use up. I will say the Fenty one, I don't really like. Fenty Luminous, I have to kind of force myself to use. I do think I'm gonna give it another go around. Maybe I'll keep it in here for December or maybe sometime in January because the temperatures have really dropped in the past couple weeks. And I haven't been using this one since like October, but in the past couple weeks, it has gotten very cold, and this is a dewier foundation, and I just found it like too dewy when I first tried it out, so I might actually like it a bit better now because I'm not reaching for like my Pure Cosmetics 4-in-1 foundation. I'm not reaching for that one right now because it's too matte for winter, so maybe I'll like this one a little bit more. Yeah, I didn't like it so far, but maybe it is gonna be like something I really like in the winter, we'll see. Then my NARS foundation, my Bare Minerals foundation, and my Lancome foundation are all just products I'm trying to use up. I like them all. I'm just trying to finish up some products. I really need to focus back on this NARS foundation. For sure, just because I don't need it to take up room anymore. I can kind of get like another month out of here and then declutter it. Those are kind of the main products. I just talked about this duo from Pacifica. I really like it. This blush in here is gorgeous. This is like the rose and coconut blush and bronzer duo. So good. I also absolutely love this primer from Origins. It's so underrated. It's one of the coolest products in my collection. Like, it is a mousse primer, and then it just turns, it's cooling, it feels cold. It's one of my favorite products, honestly, because it's so innovative. It calms my skin, it brightens my skin, it's moisturizing, it's a beautiful primer. It's not overly hydrating. I think it's good for like all skin types. Check it out if you want something new and exciting to prime your skin with, because it's definitely a more unique experience than just like a regular primer. Still love the one from Touch in Sol as well, the No Problem primer. But I mentioned a different primer in my recent favorites from Touch in Sol, the Glassy Skin one. I like that one a bit better. Then this Cover FX blush duo. It's actually been one of the blushes, one of the only blushes I've been wearing for the last couple months. This is Warm Honey. This is a gorgeous shade for winter, a little bit more mauve-y, darker tone. Beautiful blush duo. I basically just wear this or the Pacifica duo lately. Everything else I wasn't actually wearing too much. I didn't wear too much, honestly, because there were so many other eyeshadow palette releases. This one is gorgeous, so I do need to do some holiday looks. Like Sonia posted on Thanksgiving, I think she posted a look with this palette that I want to recreate that has like the gold and the green in there. But the formula of this palette is actually awesome. I just haven't been reaching for it because of other new releases. And then this palette from Butter London, I got it in a BoxyCharm a couple months ago. I'm probably not going to keep it. I think I'm going to declutter it in the next month or two. Probably actually this month I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow palette declutter. So expect to see that in there. It's a gorgeous palette, but I have so many gorgeous palettes, and this one's still pretty new, so I could pass it along for donation. And yeah, I just don't see myself ever like hitting pan or really using that palette or committing to it. Yeah, that's basically it. This is the Moonshine Primer from Juno & Co. If you guys have heard of this, it's actually awesome as well. It's another like very thick primer product. It's so cool, very hydrating as well. Really love the packaging on that. I'm not sure if I put in a recent favorites, but it's definitely something I've been loving for fall. And yeah, that's basically everything that's been in my drawer for fall. I haven't worn these highlighter drops, I just can't get into them, but lots of products that I have been using up or plan on using up. So I'm gonna take some of these out and find some new products for December. All right, starting off with blushes, bronzers, highlighters. I will probably do a declutter from this drawer and also like face palettes and stuff in the next month or two, because I'm ready to like just minimize and just keep what I actually really want to use. But to start off, I'm going to pull this from Too Faced. This is their Natural Lush bronzer. This came out earlier this year and it smells like coconuts. It's a huge bronzer. I was raving about that other Too Faced bronzer, so I want to give this one more of a go. I was using actually for a while, but I put it away for a few months, so I want to actually get in the habit of using it more often. And then when I use up the chocolate gold, maybe I'll start working on panning this bronzer. It'll be like a 2-year process, but that's okay for sure, because those are some of my favorite formulas. So I'm gonna start off with that one from Too Faced. This is one of my favorite highlighters of all time, the Tarte one that I got at the last Sephora sale. And then for blush, I'm gonna go with this one from Laura Mercier. This one is in the shade Fresco. This is like a nude blush. I got it about 2 months ago. They sent it over with some other newer releases, and this is actually a really, really beautiful nude blush. And it's also more of like a satin finish, more of like a shimmery formula, which is so beautiful for winter time. Like, that is one of my favorite shades for winter. Reminds me of like that Pacifica blush as well. It definitely looks like super, super neutral on my hand, but that's what I really like a bronzy blush for this time of year. And then I'm also gonna go with the Rockouture blush from Benefit, because this is my favorite blush for winter time. It has been for like the last 5 years. I just love those plum tones for winter, and I never wear this in the spring or summer, so I definitely want to take advantage while it's the season of like these tones for blushes. Highlights, let's go with a Becky G highlight, because it came out around this time last year. This one is Chisme. This one's my favorite one from her. It's more of like a champagne, beautiful, beautiful loose highlighter. So I'm gonna go with that. See if there's another highlighter. It's really hard for me to not use this one from Tarte. Let me show you guys how much I've used. I got this in like September, and it's a mess, but this is how much of the product I've used. At one point, this was like all the way to the top. There's a huge dent in there. I'm honestly gonna hit pan on that come like February, because it's so good. I use it almost every single day. And then also for highlighter, I'm gonna go with this one from CoverGirl. This one came out earlier this year. This is in the shade Gilded Glory. This is actually a really beautiful like peachy tone highlighter. Very, very pretty shade as well. I haven't used it enough for sure. All right, I think that's gonna be it for now. We have 2 highlighters, a bronzer, and 2 blushes, and then I'll probably pull something from my face palette drawer as well. So I think that's gonna be it for now. I can definitely see myself decluttering some of these older highlighters this month for sure, so stay tuned for that, because just like some of these, like the Fenty one, I probably don't need anymore. Some of these just don't like really excite me when I look at them, so I'm just kind of making mental notes of what I do want to keep for 2020 and what I do want to pass along. And then moving into foundations, concealers, and base powders. There's a lot that I haven't used in a while in here. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit. All right, so here is a better look into this drawer. There's a couple foundations I have in mind. So this one from Charlotte Tilbury, this is fairly new, and I want to continue to use it. It is just like a little bit too matte for winter time, but I could definitely use it with a facial oil. I have been mixing, I have a new Smashbox foundation. Let me show you guys that one real quick. I have it on my vanity, and this is the Studio Skin from Smashbox. I'm not adding this to my drawer, but I wanted to just let you guys know that I've been really liking this one, and I mix it in with like a face oil from Wander Beauty. So I'm figuring I could do that with the Charlotte Tilbury one and see how I like that for winter time. And if it's, yeah, it usually ends up working out. I don't think it's not gonna work out, but just because I'm in the habit of already using a facial oil, let me try it out with that matte foundation. So this one is very full coverage and matte, and I wanna pick a foundation that's like basically the opposite. So I'm gonna go with the ColourPop, the original foundation, the liquid foundation, no filter foundation from ColourPop. This one is very dewy, and it's more of a medium coverage. I don't find that this one lasts all day, but because it is winter time, I think it's gonna last better on my skin. So I wanna put that to the test and pull that out for this time of year. For concealer, let's go with something a little bit lighter as well, and this is from First Aid Beauty. I really do like this concealer. It's been a while since I used it, and it is definitely a little bit lighter coverage, and also a concealer that's super hydrating. So I think that's what I want for winter time. I think that's just gonna be the theme as I'm pulling out face products. Let's go with a primer from Cover FX, because I don't exactly know how I feel about all of these, because these are dewy and they came out during like the springtime when I wasn't really feeling dewy products. let me just pull both of these, the Dewy Skin Primer and also the Water Cloud Primer from Cover FX. See how I feel about those. And I think that might be it. Maybe a face powder. Let's go with the Jouer face powder. I don't think that I've used this enough to know my full thoughts on this. This is just like their matte setting powder. This one is in the shade Light. It's their soft focus setting powder. Yeah, let's put this to the test. I want to see if it compares to like the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder. So I think that's going to be it from here. This is another drawer that I could definitely declutter like some of the older foundations as well in the next couple months. So I'm probably going to be doing like multiple declutters coming up soon, but that's going to be everything I'm choosing for now. All right, so here are eyeshadows, and this is a mess, and I don't care very much because I am actually, this is going to be the first declutter that I do probably next week, and I kind of want to get rid of like half of this drawer. I have a whole second eyeshadow palette drawer, and there's a lot in here. This is like overflow, like some newer palettes, some really old palettes. I'm looking to declutter like honestly like half my collection probably, and just to have it all in one drawer. Definitely before 2020 for sure. And let's see. Okay, let's just get in here because there's definitely some things that have been a while since I've used. Here we have, oh, I do want to play with the KKW Mario palette because I did just purchase the second one, and I want to do different looks with both palettes. So I want to pull out that one. I'm also looking at some holiday palettes from years past to get into the holiday season. This is the Gingerbread Spice palette that came out last year from Too Faced. I actually really wanted the one that came out this year too, but I'm like, let me actually put this one to the test for the first time in a while. I think I'm actually gonna get a lot of use out of this month because like with the Tarte Toasted palette, that actually surprised me and impressed me, and I'm really just digging like neutral, really warm tones, and I really enjoyed this palette for a while. So I want to pull that one out. This is the Urban Decay Honey palette. I have had this one put away throughout the fall. It came out early in the fall, but I didn't really use it since the month it came out, and I really have been wanting to play with more yellowy tones and golds and stuff, so definitely want to work with this one as well. And I think that's going to be everything for now, but just stay tuned. I know I've been saying this whole video, stay tuned for some declutters, but this is going to be the first declutter. I'm honestly going to film it like in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm just ready to get rid of like honestly half of this drawer. So yeah, that is going to be coming up very, very soon because I just want to get like start using up more eyeshadow palette. All right, so lastly, let's get into some face palettes. I know exactly what I want to pick out because there's a couple of new products in my collection. So Physicians Formula released a few face palette trios that are just so awesome, and it's why I wanted to declare some of my other older products from them that I've just had for a very long time. Like this highlighter palette is so much more practical than their jars of their cream highlighters. Let me show you guys. All right, so I have some of these shades in this jar form, but now in this little palette, it's just so much more practical and convenient and less room and easier to use compared to these that I've had in my collection for like several years. So I'm excited about that. I'm also gonna be using their bronzer palette. I have been using it for the last couple days, and this is awesome. I can just mix all the shades together. Love the formula so much of the butter bronzer. That's another palette like I could honestly probably end up using that whole thing up. And then also this Natasha Denona Bloom blush palette. It came in a BoxyCharm last month. This is gorgeous. I've only used it a handful of times, so I actually want to start putting this to the test throughout the month. So that's going to be another palette, and I think that's going to be it. I think 3 face palettes is honestly enough. A blush, a bronzer, and a highlighter palette is enough to work with for the month. All right, so here is everything in my drawer for December. I'm so excited to finally just start switching things up, trying out older products in my collection, seeing how I feel about them, especially seasonally. Like some things can definitely surprise you. And that's why I wanted to keep the Fenty foundation in here for this month. I'm like, let me just start trying it out for December and see how I feel about it, because it was just way too dewy earlier in the fall when it was still kind of hot out. So I'll be testing that out. Some of these other face products that I haven't used too much. Some holiday makeup as well. Older holiday makeup like the Too Faced palette. And some newer releases back here. But that's gonna be everything for this video. Let me know what you guys are trying out for December in the comments below. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.